And welcome, everybody. Welcome to Scott Talks. We are talking with Sonia. It's Kaylon, right?
Kahlon.
Kahlon. Sorry, Sonia Kaylon. I have a hard time anyway with names. If you get an email from me, look at my signature. You'll understand why.
It says notorious for getting your name wrong.
Notorious, like multiple times. I know. I just lead with my defects, right? And then if I hit it out of the park, people are surprised. But we just had a wonderful conversation about your journey with your career, with getting sober, with creating a community for people who are getting sober. I love the conversation. I can talk about recovery, comfortably all day until it makes other people uncomfortable. Typically,
Yes.
is the way I do it, and so it's really nice to have you on the show. And let me just say, EverBlume is the company that you've created. And it says this on the site. It says EverBlume provides small group sobriety meetings with peers who support each other in recovery. And I've seen a lot of things in the past few years, especially one of the things I did want to talk to you about that I thought was curious was getting sober during the pandemic and being sober during the pandemic. Because I think a lot of people pre-COVID didn't understand that meetings were in person. And we went through this transition where now recovery meetings became accessible anywhere in the world, almost anytime online. And I think for me, in my experience, being on the other side of it now, it's really changed access and it's changed the experience a bit. And you saw an opportunity here because most of your meetings are virtual, correct?
All of them are virtual. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this gives people an opportunity to come in and connect
Yeah.
in a way that gives them a little more control, a little more freedom because you're at home, you're comfortable. You get to walk into a room, air quotes on that, and participate when you feel like you're safe enough to. And so tell me a little bit more of why you think maybe this type of recovery is successful. Why do you think that people need groups? And especially, I'm having a little bit of a challenge for me because my recovery is 12-step based. But maybe you could tell me a little bit about how EverBlume differs from that 12-step based recovery.
I don't think EverBlume is a recovery pathway. So I'm totally open to, I think people from AA can go to multiple groups. If they want to come to an EverBlume group, that works for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a strict pathway. We're definitely still leveraging peer support like AA does, which AA like pioneered.
Yeah.
But I think that with the group, I think that you get the type of support that maybe one-on-one you can't get. I think you get just a level of connection with like different people. And I think sometimes, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, like sometimes in your addiction, you have alienated your family
Mm-hmm.
or people who cared about you, or who the people that you would normally have like leaned on. And so a lot of people, their relationships are not as strong as they want. So they can't create that for themselves. And
Right.
so, yeah, this is kind of like a no shame kind of place where they can just, and they can even talk about those relationships. We can
Sure.
talk about how to.
I think for me personally, coming into a group of people who have a common interest, if you will, and telling my story was one of the most relieving. And then actually, I'll add to that being sought after for or admired for that honesty was it's not something I'd experienced before, and it was very attractive at the time. I mean, it still is. It's still being a part of something for being imperfect. Is an unusual gift. And also when that difficulty can help someone else through something, you find that it has value. And again, alone in a vacuum in the world, that's very difficult it's difficult to have that experience. So tell me a little bit real quick, how many groups are there, do you think, in EverBlume?
So right now we probably have about 10 groups. And I mean, my dream would be to have as many as possible, because I think the more you have, the more specific they can be. And so, and I'd like to see some healthcare provider groups as well, because that was
Mm,
part of my issue too, of like not wanting to talk about it, was that, I have a professional license and I don't want people to hear about this and, get the wrong impression that I was
sure.
like hanging out at work with, a
Hmm.
glass of wine, which I wasn't. And so, yeah, I think that that's a group I would love to start.
Yeah, I think it sounds to me like that's an interesting thing because protecting autonomy is difficult. It's a we can all agree to do it, but there are certain situations that are unique to people that only other people in those situations might understand or have compassion for. So I really like that. How many people actually do you think access your service, your site?
So I think we have like 150 subscribers right now, but we have a lot of people. We have like a freemium plan also,
Hmm.
where I just like, I mean, I just started where I would just send out like pieces of my story, like really just ugly pieces,
Uh-huh.
and people seemed to like it. And so, so that they get that, and they get access to some other resources, if they don't, want to commit right now to a group.
Wow. I mean, it's a beautiful story. And I agree with Laura that, I'm really happy with my um, process, but I know that it's not the only way to accomplish this thing. And I really honestly feel like there should be enough space for people to find what's safe for them and what works for them. And, that power of community and connection, I think, is just, it's magic. It's one of the things that we would love to define every little miracle of being a part of something
Yeah.
gives us. But I think when you just go in and give it your all, and then you come out feeling better, you absolutely don't question, like you don't weigh it out. Is it worth it or not? So,
Yeah,
um,
it's so true.
yeah. So tell me real quick, this is um, your project, but are you doing this as well because it helps you with your own recovery and
Oh,
growth?
yes. I think that it's everything, right? So it's like my recovery, it's like everything I'm going through. Yeah, I do it for sure. I mean, it's really a reflection of what I went through, and just in the hopes that it would help other people.
Right on. It's a beautiful, and I hope you guys tune in to the episode yesterday. It's a wonderful conversation and a beautiful story. We have all your contact information. The company is called EverBlume, BLUME.
Yeah.
Yep, and we appreciate you coming on the show, Sonia.
Thank you, Scott.
All right.